I guessed. um, I kind of I had that initial validation early on, like I mentioned, and from there it was like I guess I was in a situation where I was like, all I need to do is get enough customers, and at least this is how I rationalized it in my head. I was like, if I can just have, say, 10 clients or partners, I don't really think of them as clients, 10 partners around that number, that would be enough to pay for my team's overheads. And then my team can work on my own sites for free. So therefore, because sometimes I would have this thought like, why do I need to bother? Why don't I just have five of my own sites, maybe make 20K a month off those five, which is very easy to do, or even 30K a month off just those five sites, and just work on the five sites myself and have no team. Or even just have one site, doing 15K. That would keep me happy. And then it was like, well, I kind of want a diversification and I want to move up the food chain, as I talked about. I didn't want to just be having to do all the work myself. I didn't want to be reliant on my own businesses as well. So it was for me, it was about de-risking my own stuff. And also I was like, yeah, so I'm pretty sure Onfolio is going to be a good idea, but worst case scenario, as long as it can just pay my bills, then the money I make from my own sites is kind of like free money. But then when I started talking about it, like to FE International and Empire Flippers and within the Rhodium Facebook group, I don't know if you're aware, there was a lot of people saying that's a great idea. Lots of people need that. And so before maybe people started coming in, I got a lot of people telling me it was a good idea, which doesn't necessarily mean it is a good idea, but it gave me enough confidence to keep going. And now we get like one or two people messaging us a day talking about like the possibilities of working together. So yeah, to the extent where I never even bothered creating a sales page for
Right.
the service. I was like, just contact us here. And
Yeah.
then people started messaging me and I was like, oh, maybe I should build out that page. And then more people started messaging me and I was like, maybe I shouldn't build out that page. Like
Yeah.
maybe I should just leave it coming soon. So that's kind of like, I guess I was fortunate enough to get just enough
Hmm.
confirmation early on. And then mapping out where I want it to be in a year, that's kind of it's more like I'm in a position where I can build the company how I want it to be. And so sometimes you're like, should I do this? Should I do that? Do I think my investors will want this thing or that thing? And it's like, well, what do I want? Because I'm in a position to say no to investors. So how do I want the company to be? Who do I want to work with? What kind of sites do I want to work on? And then go that way. So that's kind of how I've started repositioning it over the last few weeks.
Great. Great answer. I know that was a tough one, but like just I'll sort of restate it and summarize a little bit just to make sure I got it right. So you kind of looked at it holistically. You're like, what do I need to like live day to day? Obviously, you have some cash flow going on, so you don't have to pay the rent. You can make some decisions based on what you actually want to work on, the kind of company you want to create. And from there, you had some early validation from smart people and professionals like veterans in the industry validating the idea. And you had enough traction early on from your multiple years of, building your brand, establishing authority, and having contacts in a network. So you were able to get enough people on board pretty quick, so that you like knew that it wasn't just a good idea from like a conceptual standpoint, but people would actually pay you money to get moving. So is that pretty good? I get that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I think
good.
that, yeah.